It's a day of remembrance. Today marks 1 year since the death of George Floyd, how people in Spokane are remembering his impact. Plus, a north-south freeway was proposed in Spokane decades ago, and completion of the project still years away. So what does the timeline look like now? Tonight we'll have those answers for you in a special Boomtown report.
A few scattered showers recently have kept things a little bit on the cool side, but that's about to change in a big way come next week.
Then from the pandemic to Capitol riots, the Washington National Guard has been there for it all. Now they're training for a new mission. It's a story you'll only see here on KREM 2 News. Good evening to you. Thanks for being here tonight. I'm Regina Ahn. It has been a year since the death of George Floyd. As people across the country remember Floyd, many are also looking ahead, pushing for police reform, including right here in Spokane. Morgan Trow attended a rally tonight to reflect on the past year of activism in Spokane.
1 year after his death, community members are coming together to mourn the loss of George Floyd.
We all saw that, and it all affected us in some way, shape, or form.
Sitting on the Spokane Human Rights Commission, Anwar Peace has been a police accountability activist for more than 20 years. He attended every Black Lives Matter rally, protest, and event that he could over the last year. Tonight, alongside nearly 80 activists, he attended a peaceful rally to remember the life of George Floyd and urge for police reform.
It made us want to come out and protest. It made us want to be more vocal about police reforms.
Floyd's death sparked months of nationwide protests focused on racism and a renewed debate over police reform in the U.S. Chauvin was convicted last month on multiple charges stemming from Floyd's death. Peace says despite dozens of local protests, no tangible change can be seen in our city.
Most jurisdictions in the United States that dealt with the George Floyd uprising, they have either passed some kind of police reform, as well as they've done an after-action report dealing with the George Floyd protests. And both of those things have not taken place in Spokane.
It's time for the Spokane Police Department to get off of all of our necks.
Activists kneeled for 9 minutes. Those 9 minutes of silence were for the 9 minutes Chauvin kneeled on George Floyd's neck, murdering him.
So we are a year into this, and we're a year behind.
Peace shares that he believes police reform is necessary and essential for our community to unify.
But right now, we're just stuck in the mud, which apparently Spokane is used to.
Other activists agree, saying that discussion is the only way that we are going to be able to step forward.
City leaders were supposed to have a roundtable discussion about police reform. It was proposed last summer, but it hasn't happened yet. Reporting at Riverfront Park, Morgan Trow, KREM 2 News.
You tonight, Spokane Valley major crime detectives are working to identify 2 men who assaulted a woman in her own home yesterday. Police responded to a report of an assault at a home on the East 16th Avenue around 4 p.m. The victim told police that she was restrained and assaulted by 2 men and didn't know how they got into her house. She was unable to identify the men because she was unconscious for part of the attack. Detectives are asking anyone who may have home surveillance video that captured the north and south side roads between the 14500th block and 15100th block to contact that number right there on your screen. Police also do not believe this was a random incident. Hikers now have another day to explore Washington state parks for free. The State Parks and Recreation Commission announced that June 19th, also known as Juneteenth, is now a Discover Pass free day. So visitors won't need to display a Discover Pass for day use parking on Juneteenth. Other free park days include June 5th, 12th, and the 13th. As you gear up to celebrate Memorial Day this weekend, the Department of Natural Resources wants you to remember some fire safety tips. Remember to douse your campfire with water before leaving it. If it's still warm to the touch, it is not safe to leave. Watch the weather. Windy conditions around debris burn piles can cause nearby trees and grasses to catch fire. In just April, there were 225 fires, which was an all-time record. And coming up later in the broadcast, we'll learn how the National Guard is already gearing up for the upcoming wildfire season. In the meantime, turning now to weather, we did see a mix of everything, didn't we, today? Some sunshine, a little bit of thunderstorms, and just everything, right? Thomas Patrick joining us now from the Outdoor Weather Center. So, Thomas, what are we expecting for the rest of this week?
Yeah, a little bit of everything is a good way to put it, because you know what if you got rain, if you didn't get rain, maybe your neighbor did, because that's how scattered it was today.
It was almost like 30 minutes by 30 minutes or something new.
Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you got to keep your eyes on the clouds, especially if you're trying to get perhaps an outdoor jog in, you know, that you got some dark clouds, maybe a shower just nearby. You might even be running into it if that was the case. Here's where we stand as of right now. This is the last 6 hours. You can even see a little bit of some lightning strikes throughout the course of the afternoon hours. It is fizzling out, but there's still some leftover showers over northeastern Washington, and I could have sworn, I'm going to have to check to see if there's some raindrops on my car, because I think it sprinkled between our 10 o'clock and 11 o'clock show here in Spokane. Looks like there is just a little bit of light rain over the valley as of this moment. Clouds should be clearing out tonight. 4 a.m., partly cloudy skies. I point that hour out specifically because that's the hour we're going to have a lunar eclipse for tonight, also known as a blood moon. Pretty short window of viewing here, only about 15 minutes of totality, but look for the moon to be like that. If you're an astronomy nerd like me, you're going to have to set an alarm to see that, again, just after 4 o'clock in the morning. But not just going to show you the forecast for this particular event, but just how warm conditions are going to be heading into the Memorial Day weekend and beyond. Look for that part of the forecast in just a few minutes.
Astronomy nerds unite. Love that. Well, the U.S. may be close to a second COVID-19 vaccines for teenagers. Moderna says data from a late-stage trial shows its vaccine is 100% effective in young people ages 12 to 17. Moderna plans to submit the data to the FDA early next month. Dr. Anthony Fauci said today he's optimistic about the vaccine's ability to ensure in-person school this fall. Another big milestone today in the fight against COVID-19. Half of the country's adults are now fully vaccinated. The White House COVID-19 task force made the announcement earlier today, and to get more people vaccinated, the Treasury Department released new guidelines that spells out how states can use federal money for vaccine incentive programs. The White House hopes to have 70% of adults with at least one vaccine by the 4th of July.
We're doing everything we can to give people access to the vaccine. It is extremely accessible to everyone now. We want to make sure people have information because we know this is a safe vaccine. You're seeing ads from multiple physicians advising people this is a safe vaccine.
But vaccination rates in Washington are not yet where health leaders want them to be. Right now, 60% of those eligible for the vaccine in Washington have been vaccinated. Hospitalizations from COVID have steadily declined, but hospitals remain near capacity. And with Memorial Day coming up, health experts are warning people to not let their guard down. And the good news is officials say they're starting to see a correlation between vaccination rates and hospitalization rates all across the state. Well, it has been a year like no other, trying to navigate through the pandemic, but today it was a sense of normalcy for many Meade School District students who collaborated this spring on a marching band performance. It's been over a year since a performance like this has even happened.
The students are great, they're excited, they've been patient, and we couldn't be more blessed to have a group of students that stayed the course. You know, they were patient through all of it, and now they're excited just to be out here playing again.
Mount Spokane and Meade High Schools, along with Northwood, Mountainside, and Highland Middle School, all collaborated on this awesome performance, and just a great way to celebrate getting through a very tough year. Very talented students there. Well, Spokane has wanted a north-south freeway since the 1940s, and as the region continues to boom, demand for it has only grown. Coming up, we take a look at the project's timeline and speak to a business owner who is hopeful for the future. But before we go to break here tonight, we do want to highlight more of tonight's marching band performance. Here are the band students from 5 Spokane Public School middle and high schools.